president of the American Federation of Teachers, Randi Weingarten. We spoke with Lee from AFSCME, Lee Saunders on AFSCME on last week. We spoke with Mary Kay of SEIU, and now we want to hear from Randi on this Janus ruling. Randi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I mean, I've had better weeks than last week, but so has America.
Of course. So let's just start, first of all, with your take, your reaction to this Janus ruling.
Well, I mean, I sat through the hearing. So once I sat through the hearing, I expected Alito to do exactly what he did. I was not surprised, disappointed, shocked that all of a sudden precedent doesn't mean anything, disappointed and shocked that all of a sudden the 10th Amendment doesn't mean anything, disappointed and shocked that the vehicle that actually has helped regular working people get ahead, unions, the right wing took a hatchet to. But, that is the fight that we are in general in the United States, where these very wealthy right-wing families like Betsy DeVos, who's in the cabinet, like the Koch brothers, have helped Donald Trump further polarize the country, create the even more of a gap between the haves and the have-nots, and using issues that are cruel and used to be unimaginable in our country, like separating children from their parents and caging them. And so this, the last thing I'll say is, as Trump said himself in his tweet when he cheered on this opinion and this decision, was they did it because they want to take regular working people out of the calculus of voting and changing America so that America works for regular working people.
Yeah. Now, I would say that there's a bit of a caveat when it comes to teachers, as opposed to other unions. In most of the public systems, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not an issue of teachers who are paying fees and are non-members. Most public school teachers are in the union. Am I right about that?
Well, I would say there are more public. Sorry, I'm at an airport on my way to the NEA convention, so we can be in solidarity with Lee and Lily.
Thank you.
Most, teachers are more densely organized than any other set of either professionals or blue or pink collar workers these days. That is absolutely true. But you got a lot of places like Arizona, Kentucky, Oklahoma, where less than half of the teachers were actually in unions. That's changing now. The walkouts for kids this year has inspired teachers to hugely get involved in the political process and, in their unions. We saw, for example, in our West Virginia union, an increase in membership by about 1,500 people right after the strike, and right after the walkout, and that has continued. But I think what happens, Mark, is that teachers get that together, they can accomplish more together than they can ever accomplish alone. And what the right wing is trying to do is trying to make regular working people fend for themselves. And that's what this case was about. It was not about the First Amendment, as Justice Kagan said. She actually used the term that the right wing has weaponized the First Amendment to be a sword against other rights that people have.
Yeah. So, because I'm saying that to say, when Lee and I talked, the challenge for him and for AFSCME specifically is to get more people who are receiving the benefits of the union to join the union.
Right.
And as you mentioned, you all are probably having more interest in an upsurge because of the walkouts. So that's a good thing. Frankly,
Let me tell you,
okay, go ahead.
This
Go
is
ahead.
what was amazing about last week. We got our membership numbers. You always get your membership numbers like a month later so we got our May membership numbers about a couple of days before the decision.
Yeah.
We are on our highest membership numbers ever
Good.
in the history of the AFT. And the week
Right.
that this happened, 2 amazing contracts got settled that help communities as well as our members. One in Cincinnati for safe staffing, one in University of Michigan for nurses in Cincinnati, University of Michigan graduate workers who have been earning poverty wages, lifted their wages, and the Oregon State University faculty joined.
Good.
So to your
Good.
point,
Yeah.
people are getting that they don't have power alone. And while we're not perfect, and we are not, we are the best vehicle that people have
Yeah.
to actually lift their wages.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, if I might, Randy, I think the Janus moment for teachers began with the inception and overproliferation of charter schools.
Yes, I agree.
And so this is a battle we've been fighting. But be that
And
as
Mark, with austerity,
yeah,
I mean, remember during the recession, you had people, even Democrats, corporate Democrats like Joe Klein or Michelle Rhee, basically
right,
using the recession to try to actually take away rights. I mean, the age discrimination that went on in Washington, D.C., where basically Michelle Rhee tried to fire a disproportionately female and African American workforce,
right.
saying that they were not nearly as good as new teachers was terrible.
Yeah. So obviously the goal is to increase full-fledged, bona fide, good standing union membership. But what else, Randy? How else do we combat this Janus ruling?
Well, the most important thing we do.
Randy, did we lose you? Hello? Sound like the airport cut her off. Let's see. Well, there's still a connection there. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if we can. Maybe we'll try to get her back. We can try her back. And I've got you. Do we have her number? Okay. I think I have it. 866 99 series 866-997-4748. You all just bear with me. We're talking with Randi Weingarten of AFT about the Janus ruling. And here you go. Try this number. And let's see if we can get her back on the line. It is good news that you've got teachers, ladies and gentlemen, who more and more are joining unions. One of the problems with charter schools is that in charter schools, even though they get public money, teachers are not required to be members of the union. You don't have to do that at all. And that's the thing that's unfortunate about that. And I don't really know whether, as non-members, because they don't even have to pay the agency fees. That's what Janus ruled on. I don't know whether they get the benefit of anything anyway because they're charter schools. They may not even get some of the benefits that other teachers negotiate and get. But what Randi is doing and what AFT is doing is very, very, very important at this point. What AFSCME is doing, what SEIU is doing. So what has to happen is we've got to organize more people to not just be working in these places and not be members of unions, but to actually become full-fledged members in good standing, bona fide members of the union. That's important. 866-99-SERIOUS. You'll notice we're streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you'll notice I have the big sign union beneath me here. You can see it. Hashtag union. Use that yourselves. Promote union. Promote being a member of a union. If you're not a member of union, still promote unions, because we need our unions to be strong and viable. Randy, we got you back?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. So
That's okay. What I was trying to say, Mark,
yeah,
is
please.
that what we have to do is not only do the member engagement, but we have to be good community partners to help lift the prospects of the entire community.
Right. Absolutely. And by doing so, that will raise the profile, but the ongoing respect that people ought to have for unions.
Right. I mean, this is what I was saying. I don't know if you heard me before I got I got cut off, which I'm sure was my cell phone's fault. Is that, remember, people used to say, when my grandfather was in the union, they got us a 40-hour work week, or they got us a vacation. That's what we do right now. And the more density we have, or the more allies we have, the more we have clout at the ballot box, which is why the right wing wanted to take this hatchet to us.
Yeah.
The more we can get representatives of working people, representatives of fairness in these legislative seats in Congress, as opposed to representatives of the rich who just want to, do tax cuts for the wealthy and create this polarization and hate so that everybody is at each other's throat.
Yeah. So Randy, in light of this new SCOTUS vacancy,
good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Are there any other cases in the pipeline that we need to be concerned about that are maybe even more harmful than Janice?
Well, I would say that Janice was not in the pipeline until Gorsuch was confirmed. And then 2 weeks later, takes 4 votes to actually give a case third. So there's lots of cases in the federal pipeline that can all of a sudden be lifted. It's like the Supreme Court wanted Janice. Alito wanted Janice.
Right.
And they lifted it to make it there. So all of our rights are at risk, and look, I know people have been, talking about how Kennedy has been so great. And look, I'm a gay woman. I just got married this year. That decision that Kennedy did was hugely impactful for my life professionally and personally. Having said that, this entire session, Kennedy voted against all the voting cases, voted in favor of some of the discrimination cases, voted to create a hatchet to the labor movement. So I think that the issue is elections have consequences.
That's right.
And yes, they should wait until the November election before they appoint a Supreme Court justice. But there's no coincidences in life. And I'm sure Kennedy resigned now instead of later to allow Trump to actually make this court a right-wing court for the next 30 years. It makes winning the Senate even more imperative.
Yeah. Randi Weingarten, AFT.org, folks. Read her latest piece right there on the front page. Randi, we're going to let you go and get on your flight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark. Thanks for fighting.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for fighting. Love you. Be careful now. Safe travels.
Thanks.
Okay. And folks, don't forget to use the hashtag union throughout in the coming days when you tweet about any subject, but especially on this one. Go to AFT.org.